Hi, and welcome to the kindergarten meeting. Kinder parents, I know you've been waiting extremely patiently, so thank you for that. There's a lot of questions, so bear with me. I'm going to go through um, everything, and if you have any questions or I forgot to cover something, please let me know. So, first of all, it's really important that this kindergarten year you get in the habit of your children being on time and at school. So we understand everybody likes to go on vacations, they take extra days here or there. If you can help it, please avoid doing that. Your children right now as kindergarteners are involved in much bigger works. They're involved in multiple person works and they need to be here. So we need some um, heads up that they're not going to be here, especially for more than a couple of days. So please let us know, but also please try and plan your vacations around when we're already closed. This is a great habit to get in regardless, just because next year when they're first graders, they're going to be on a same basic schedule where they have days off uh, based around the calendar that the school has. But you also need to know that at that point, they're also part of the school system, and every school has a mandatory number of days your child has to be in school. So if you have long vacations or you're very tardy often, you will end up going in and being called into the principal. Unfortunately, it's a reality because they are legally have to enforce that number of days. So just get into the habit now and get your children into the habit of being ready to go to school at the same time every day, and that you are not taking a lot of extra days off if you can help it. If you are doing some really cool trips, take this as an opportunity and we can talk with you more about it, about having them take that time to write a little bit about where they go, take pictures, have something that they can bring back and share with the class. We have had some families that their very huge go visit their family in South Africa trip happened the year their child was a kindergartner. So their child actually took a notebook to take notes and pictures, and it was an amazing keepsake in general, but it was a great thing for them to bring back and share as well. Obviously, that's a special situation, but keep that in mind when you're planning your trips. Now, obviously, with the coronavirus going on, your trips are going to be a little bit different, and most people are not going out. So, that being said, stick with those health things. I know we keep reiterating these, but let's keep everybody as healthy as humanly possible so there's not a lot of absenteeism. We expect that your kindergartners be reading daily at home. They're getting a lot of the story time here as well. Those of you that are bringing home readers, have children that are bringing home readers, know that they're doing that every day as well. So they should also be reading daily at home. And we want you to kind of keep an eye on what they're doing. They should be reading to someone for a couple of reasons. First of all, you want to make sure that they're actually getting the words out. We have, some children, especially as they start to read, that they still need to sound the words out, but they are kind of reticent to do that. So have them sit with you and read to you so you can see if they're really identifying all of the sounds. Um, you also want to be able to have a little discussion with them because you want to make sure that they're comprehending what they're reading. And that's something when your children are bringing home readers, and we've had this happen before where, parents have said, oh, this is much too easy for them. So we have them go back and say, all right, but you need to talk with them about the story. Are they really remembering the story? So for some kids, they can read the words, but they don't remember anything that happened. And that's really the most important part of it. And other kids that maybe struggle getting through some of the words, but they get the story and they're picking up on that. These are all aspects of what we're looking at. We also, when we are reading to the children or reading with the children, we're seeing what parts are, there may be skipping. We're seeing if they are remembering that like the main character's name, it looks the same and it's going to be the same, so they don't necessarily need to sound it out every time. And this is an aha moment for them, so just wait until you see it happen where all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, that kid's name is Bill, and this, I don't have to say every single time. It's really cool, but it's what we look for. And so if you see that your children are not moving into the next color of reader, it's not because we're not paying attention. It's because maybe there's something that they're missing that we need to really reiterate and go back over. And it tells us also, hey, we need more work on puzzle words, or we need to do more work on these types of phonograms. So keep that in mind, but keep the reading going. And I know it's tough right now. Not everybody is going off to the library. So, if there's other ways you can go get books, if you can lend them amongst each other, that is a great way to go as well. So keep that in mind. Um, the next thing, and I'm going off the old agenda, just because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. Obviously, some of these things are going to be different, like penmanship and library trips. Penmanship is something that your children are practicing at school basically every single day. And they can do it at home. And you'll find sometimes your kids will all of a sudden just be obsessed with writing everything down. That is great. Give them things to do. Your children that are readers, have them help you make a list for the grocery store. It's going to be funny because of, what we call unusual spelling, but it's going to be really, really cute. And it makes them feel like they're helping you out, because you can say, okay, I'm going to go through the refrigerator. Let me tell you what I want you to write down so we don't forget it at the store. These are ways that they can practice. I like to have them write as many things down as they can during the day. So you'll see coming home, you'll see that they're bank games. They'll write down the problem. This is a great way for them to practice their number writing, which is challenging, without it feeling like they're just sitting and writing. Some kids love that, and they will just sit and write for a long time. For some kids, this is tedious, horrible stuff. So we make it a little bit more fun. And that means they label things. So if they want to cut things out of a magazine and paste them and then label what they are, it's great. And you watch and see how they're making those letters. Are they going top to bottom? Are they flipping things back and forth? Which, by the way, is completely normal. It's just something to keep an eye on. That, if they're copying and it keeps flipping, we're going to keep an eye on that. But keep that in mind as something that they can do during the day. Get them a notebook if they want it, so that they can practice in the notebook. If your children are artists and they love to draw, encourage that. All of that is strengthening their hand. If your child's hands aren't that strong yet, do other things that encourage that hand strength. Get them the Play-Doh that they can play with. We can't do it at school right now because there is absolutely no way to sanitize Play-Doh, but you can do it at home. Show them how to knead bread. All of these things that they can do to really get that hand strength going. Because your children, if they are not already writing reports, which a lot of them are, they will be soon. A lot of the penmanship we're doing, we're talking about writing sentences and where to put spaces. So they're doing this practice. Let them do it at home too. They will be so proud of themselves. I really would love to have some show and share come in. And we've already had children bring in their ribbons from doing their swimming lessons. If they have trophies from doing other things like that, swimming lessons, soccer, gymnastics, whatever they do that they love. If you go hiking and they want to bring a little souvenir that they can show and talk about, or take pictures that you can send me and we will do the same thing. I will go around with my phone and show everybody the pictures of what they saw. These are great ways for your children to really share what they're doing, but also practice that ability to talk in public without getting nervous, without getting anxiety about people looking at them. It's a great practice, especially if it's something that they love. If they have a book that goes hand in hand with what we're talking about, please send it in. We had children do that as well. If they want to donate a book, either on their birthday or another time, maybe their favorite thing in the world is dinosaurs, and they would like to donate a book in January when we do dinosaurs, please do so. We will have them stand in front of everyone and present it to the class or show us their favorite page. Show and share is an amazing way for them to really connect with their friends in something other than whatever they're playing outside. It gets the conversations going and it allows their friends to ask them questions. And so they really get kind of a deeper understanding of who each child is. The other thing that we really need you to do is talk with your children about the virtues. Now, I've set it up so that there is a reminder the night before. So Tuesday, you should be getting a reminder for the next day that there will be a virtue lesson, which means Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, anytime before we have that lesson, we would love for you to talk to your children about it. This gives them a chance to really be part of our discussion. And we'll ask them, hey, did you guys talk with your parents? And most of them say, yes, I did, or no, I didn't. It doesn't matter if they forget what you talked about. It doesn't matter if, they are not really getting the concept. What's important is that they're doing that discussion, that they're having that one-on-one time with you where they're talking about something that bridges the school and the home and lets them understand that we are communicating about the virtues and what they're practicing. So it's super important for you to do that part. Right on the tails of that, it's also very important that every one of my kindergartners comes in with a virtue voucher on Monday or Tuesday if you forget. I need to see that they are practicing these things at home, but also that you are giving that importance to one of the things that we do here. This is a minor bit of homework. The next few years, you'll see, homework take on a completely different tack where they're going to be bringing things home that you need to talk about with them. This is the start of that. And it's a great homework. It's teaching your children how to be amazing members of society and amazing members of our community. So please take the time to do that. And please be sure that we're getting a virtue voucher in every single Monday. I'm going to start sending out reminders. The ones that I don't see by the next virtue lesson, I'll be sending them out that you need to send those virtue vouchers in. It's important to your children too. Your children are seeing all of their friends get up and have these virtue vouchers read about them. And if they don't bring one in, they understand that. Now, when they were younger, it may not have really connected. But as kindergartners, they're absolutely understanding that they're not bringing their homework in. Please be sure that you help them with this because I don't want them to feel left out of the process. So again, it goes hand in hand. Make sure that we're doing this. The next thing is field trip, parent and child participation. Obviously, this is completely different this year. Literally everything that we normally do at the beginning of the year is shut down. I know Janet talked recently with someone about doing our tour of the airport, which we would normally do in October. They are shut down for all of those until the beginning of next year. So we don't know what we're going to do yet. I am trying to put together some virtual field trips for your children, specifically the Air and Space Museum with the Smithsonian does some virtual tours. So I'm going to try to put together a special day for your children that are kindergartners to do a virtual tour, maybe do some really fun, cool experiments that have to do with aerodynamics like we would have done if we would have gone to some of these field trips. So I have those things in mind. As we get closer to the end of the year, as we see how things pan out with this pandemic, we'll know better what we're going to be able to do. The other thing to think about though, and I know it's sad to think that maybe your children will miss out on that thing for this part of the year. Understand though that the other risk that we're taking out of it is that when we go out in public as a group, it's not just exposing your kids, it's exposing your teacher as well. Um, I don't want to get sick, because if I get sick, I'm out of it with your kids. And we're really trying to keep any of that possibility to a very minimal. So understand that we're exercising an abundance of caution in order to give your children the best possible experience. So keep that in mind, and also understand that some of these things you can do. If you see that we are studying, um, frogs or something like that, go to a pond that has tadpoles and talk about the metamorphosis. These little field trips with just your child are really important too. And this is something that you can do even when it's not in a pandemic, is take these opportunities to have these really cool discovery sessions with your children. Um, you know, all sorts of things can be exciting like this, and especially with our weather starting to get where we love it, you'll have more opportunities to do that. But please also know that we are doing the best we can to make these experiences possible with your children. It may just all be in the second semester, and we're going to do the best that we possibly can, and we will keep you updated as much as we can. All right, so graduation. Let's talk about this. Graduation, again, this last year we did it as a virtual graduation time, and I'm really happy that some of you had the opportunity to watch those reports. I'm going to share the link with you guys again once we get closer to it, so you can see some of the reports that our last kindergartners did. Even though they weren't able to do it at home, they did an amazing job. We were so proud of them. We have not chosen what we're going to do yet. So the upcoming graduation projects we'll talk about closer to about January, and that's what we normally do. We will choose a theme, and your children and I will talk very much about what they would like to do. The theme for the last year was peacemakers. It was people who had made the world a better place. I don't know what we're going to do for this coming graduation project. We will come up with something amazing. If you have really great ideas, let me know. There's usually a lot of interesting ideas from your children as well, and we keep those and take those into account too. We will choose themes. I will let you know what the themes are and also what your child's specific report is going to be about. And those things will start being worked on after the beginning of the year. I will have a syllabus for you so that you know what to do and when to do it, because we don't want anybody having to, sit down and do the entire project in 1 week. That's not what we want. We don't want your children to have that either. We want them to have a really great time with this. So I'll break it down, what things you need to get, when you need to do these things so that it all comes together towards the end of the year. So that will be lots of fun. So don't worry about it so much now. This is a second semester thing, but your kids will be great. So, all right. This is going to be a little bit more difficult, but it's something you still need to do. We usually encourage parents to start school tours for next year no later than October. Obviously, this is a challenge because I don't know how many places are actually letting parents come in and do a lot of tours. So you're going to do a lot more of it virtually, but you should definitely have in mind where you want your children to go. If you are wanting them to go on with Montessori, if you're looking for a more traditional approach, we will talk to you further on in the year if we feel that you need to get additional testing for your children, either that they might have a challenge they need some help with, or they might be on the gifted spectrum. Those are things we'll talk to you about. But if you have an idea of where you would like your children to go, now is the time to start talking with those schools, especially if you're trying to get into a charter type school, a Montessori type school, any of those. We have great ideas for you. If you want to know where our other students have gone, we also have parents that can talk to you about the experience that their children had at various schools. So please use this as a resource for that as well. We also want you to keep in mind that this little group of children, they're really a tight knit little group so far, which is great. Um, Foster those kind of things with play dates, especially now where we're limited. Know that these kids are already part of their peer group that they interact with every single day. This is kind of a safe group to go around with, but it's also great for you to foster those relationships with these children, especially if there's a possibility that they're going to go on in their school career with these kids as well. So have those play dates, set things up so that they can interact outside of school as well. And then you can also see how their relationships are going outside of the school setting. We always warn that you will see that your children are going to have a kind of weird shift towards the springtime. Expect that, where they're getting too big for their britches. They're getting too big for their little school, and it's time for them to start moving on. We're sad to see it, but at the same time, it shows us that they're really jumping out of this first plane, or this plane of learning, and they're going on to the next one. And it's very much about social status and very much about social skills. It's a great thing to watch, but keep that in mind. And keep in mind, if you're hearing stories, let us know, because there's some things that we may need to talk with you more about, some things that we may need to talk with the kids more about. So keep that in mind as your children get a little bit older. Let's see, what else do we need to cover here? MSO, make sure that if you are doing MSO funds, that you not only are putting your funds in on time, that you have all your paperwork filled out, that you have talked to Janet about it. It's very important. The other thing too is I just want to make sure I go over all of these things. Yeah, I think that's the end of it. So make sure that you're covered with that. Make sure that you have school tours in mind. Oh, also conferences will be coming up in November. I would like to talk to all of my kindergarten families at least once this year. Conferences are usually in November and again in May. We're going to be doing Zoom conferences, at least for this first set. So please keep that in mind, that I would like to talk to each and every one of you at some point during this year in a conference form. This is just for the sake of making sure that we're all on the same page, but also that you have a really good understanding of where your child is within all of these different things. So we'll talk about where they are academically, where they are socially, which is just as important for this age, all of those things, and how they're going to be able to integrate into a new environment next year, which is something that most people stress about. So I'm here to help you. If you have any questions, please always let me know. I am here to help. All right. So thank you for your time, and I will talk to you later.